Damian Howard here. I'm so excited that as it pertains to the social and emotional learning pillars that we are focusing on for this season of our work, we're looking at social awareness and relationship skills. When it comes to the particular theme that we are looking at this week, we're focusing on listening to understand. Listening to understand. It's very obvious. Hey, check it out. I got 2 ears and I have 1 mouth. That is very intentional. I have a couple of ears, which speaks to the fact that I should be listening 2 times more than I am speaking. Oftentimes we get that thing mixed up. We get it messed up because even as we find ourselves in particular conflict moments, we are often trying to think about how I am going to respond, how I am going to rebut what it is that I am going to say to combat what this person is saying to me, even before the person has full ability to get their thoughts out. So when we get into this particular week and we're focusing on listening to understand, the point is that we're going to use these more than we're using this, especially when we're getting into spaces whereby people are in conflict mode. Hey, this is vastly important because one of the key things that's going to come out of this is one's ability to get greater understanding concerning where other people are coming from versus me just trying to automatically think about how I am going to rebut or come against what it is that you said. Hey, let me take a moment to really try to understand what it is that you're saying. And on the other end, to have somebody who has a very clear commitment to trying to understand what it is that I'm saying makes me feel better. It puts me in a place whereby, hey, I want to relate to this person more. I want to keep building with this individual because this is somebody who has shown me an ability and a willingness to listen when I have something to say. So this week, we want to focus on listening to understand. Listening to understand. Not trying to conceptualize and get ahead of that person and think about what it is that I want to say as they're talking, but actually giving them space and opportunity to talk so that we can be individuals who heighten our empathy. What is empathy? Your ability to put yourself in the shoes of somebody else. You can't do that if you don't listen. Hey, here are our questions for this week. These are the questions. Question number 1. What are the things you can do in a conversation to show someone that you are listening to understand? What are some of those things you can do? We want to ask the young people that this week. Question number 2. What are the results of listening to understand? When you are somebody who feels understood, how does that make you feel? What are the results of that for you? Put yourself in that particular scenario. How does it help the conversation? How does it make the other person feel? Listening to understand. Those are the prompts, the questions that we're going to utilize this week in order to dive into this theme and this skill for the week. Y'all hear me? It's a new year. I love it. Here, the activation assignment, and I'm going to go ahead and read this piece because I want to make sure that y'all fully grasp how we're getting into this activation assignment this week. Students are going to demonstrate their ability to listen in order to understand. In groups of 2, one student will talk and the other student will be listening to understand. The student who is listening will be demonstrating that they're listening to understand by nodding their head, making eye contact, asking clarifying questions. The student who is talking can make up their own story to share. Talk about what you did over break. Talk about what is fascinating you in this particular point in your life. Students will switch roles after a specified period of time that the facilitator sets, namely yourself, and then they're going to each get an opportunity to work on listening to understand. We're going to continue with these different rounds until you, as the facilitator, feel as if the students have a good understanding that the skill we are focusing on this week. Yo, it's your boy Damian Howard, elated for us to get this work going. It's very important and vital work, game-changing work, and I'm glad that you're committing to watching these videos and implementing these practices in your school and or in your mentoring space. Peace out.